Alexei, do you have any objections to recording this and publishing it on social media and the internet?
No, I don't.
Alright, there's an important point that needs to be followed. How long have you been in captivity?
Since February 8th of this year.
Under what circumstances were you captured?
I was taken prisoner by a Ukrainian recon sabotage group.
On which part of the front?
Tabaevka. Village of Tabaevka.
Can you tell me what it looked like?
We were staying in positions. A Ukrainian recon sabotage group approached suddenly. We didn't react in time. Actually, we did react. We saw one of them but didn't shoot, so he just passed by. Then when he was coming back after circling around the house, heading back, we saw that he hadn't noticed us either, so we stayed quiet.
How many of you were there?
There were 2 of us. We stayed quiet. It seemed like he had left. Then he called his guys and the rest of the group. Come out, he says. And that's it. We went out and were taken prisoner.
So there wasn't some kind of bloody shutout?
No, there was no shutout, nothing.
Tell me please, how have you been treated in captivity? Obviously the photos of you with a swollen nose and a black eye have been all over the internet. But still, we all know firsthand that the treatment of Ukrainian prisoners is like in Russian captivity. Therefore, nevertheless, I want to ask you a question. How do they treat you in captivity?
Overall, adequate. It could have been much worse.
Undoubtedly.
Yes. Well, they did smack me in the face, asked a couple of leading questions, and that's it.
That's where it ended.
Yeah.
Look, I keep trying to bring this up from time to time, but it somehow never works out. Since we've started talking about captivity, I want to hear your opinion on this. Does Rusich ring a bell? It's also a nationalist fighting unit, only on the side of the Russian Federation.
No, I haven't heard.
They have a notorious fighter there. Some guy named Evgeny, call sign Tapas. Zhenya, hello to you. He wrote a manual on how to treat Ukrainian prisoners. Instructions for the disposal of prisoners of war of the Ukrainian armed forces. First, if possible, do not report to higher command about the presence of captured enemy soldiers and officers. If the report was made to improve reporting, then report that the enemy is wounded and might die, even if this is not the case. Point 2. If time and opportunity permit, interrogate captured enemy soldiers. First without physical pressure, then again with elements of influence, such as cutting off fingers, cutting off an ear, blows to the groin and joints, driving needles under the nails. The main thing is that the enemy could consciously answer questions. Don't be afraid to kill prisoners. The special officers and those who are important to them do not appear on the front lines to report. There will be no punishment for this. By the way, if you can identify the bodies of the dead, take the exact coordinates of the burial site, take a photo so that the face is visible, and offer to sell the burial location of your son, husband, and other relatives for between $2,000 and $5,000. The money can be transferred to a Bitcoin wallet, and you can spend it on equipment, drones, and so on. After interrogating the prisoners, either shoot them, do it discreetly so that the soldiers who are not involved in this do not see, to avoid being clicked or stab him. It is desirable that everyone take part in this so that the secrecy of what happened can be maintained in the future. Second option is to wound prisoner. The wound must be inflicted in the liver area to eliminate the chance of survival and in the groin area. Shoot from a short distance through a reinforced bag to avoid burns on the body, which may indicate the intentional nature of the injury. Well, don't get me wrong, it's just a screenshot, yes, from their Telegram channel. What do you think about this?
In general, I'm initially against such things, of course. How it is, you should take prisoners, but not like this. If you take a prisoners, you get to keep at least 2 lives, right?
Undoubtedly.
The life of a Russian and the life of a Ukrainian. These are 2 Slavs.
Well, what about this attitude towards Ukrainian prisoners on the part of the nationalist Russian units?
Can't understand. These are not nationalists.
The Rusich unit, their symbol is a kalavrat. Their fingers, too, just like you, are covered in tattoos with swastika. They, I don't know, are for great Russian against the soulless West. Well, I don't fully know their ideology. They suspect of absolutely inhuman treatment of other Slavs. It turns me inside out.
This is Russophobia, Slavophobia.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that if the prisoners of the armed forces of the Russian Federation had felt this menials on themselves, it would probably have been very bad. Do you agree?
Well, of course.
So you weren't tortured in captivity other than the few jabs you apparently received at the very beginning?
Well, yes.
Does anyone
They
stick
didn't
needles under
torture me.
nails?
No.
I heard you. Well, this is an important aspect because the question of the attitude towards prisoners is constantly, let's say, yes, hanging in the air. It arises after some new tragedy. And for some reason, it's mostly in the overwhelming majority of cases representatives of the Russian side who are noted for committing atrocities.
Listen, Denis, well, there are a lot of myths, actually. I've also heard about Ukrainian captivity.
Tell me what you heard.
When I was on the front line at the location, they pour foam into...
This is a classic.
Yeah, they cut off...
genitals.
Yes.
But the most interesting thing is that there is only one video of genital cutting on the internet, where the genitals of a soldier of the Ukrainian armed forces are cut off. Soldiers of the Russian Ministry of Defense. Just a prisoner now, and you can see. Did this atrocity touch you? Or maybe you know someone in captivity?
I haven't seen anything like that.
Get it?
I haven't seen it. Personally, no one from my circle saw
From
it.
your circle. As I understand who is being held captive. I think this is a deliberate rumor that was spread in the Russian military environment in order to dehumanize Ukrainians, and it was easier.
So that they don't surrender and fight to death.
Yes. And to make it easier for them to come to an agreement with their conscience. Well, you're torturing ours, we will torture yours too. Also, it's such endless seesaw of violence, which of course can go on for a very long time. As far as I remember, in your biography, there is a period of time that you spend in places of detention.
Yes.
Just tell me about it. Under what article? How long?
186.
This is rather exotic article.
Fraudulent behavior. I spent 5 years in General Regime Prison.
Where?
Sukhinичи, Kaluga Oblast.
Basically,
Well,
your
yes.
local area.
Released in 2013.
So,
I served until the end of this sentence.
how did it happen that you got into counterfeiting banknotes?
Well, like everyone else, we just wanted easy money plus to undermine the economy a little.
This is a very interesting point. Undermine the economy of Russian
Yes.
Federation. Why was this important to you?
After the RNU, we sought after the
Have you
collapse
been
of
in
the
RNU?
RNU. Yes.
For those who don't know, this is the Russian
After
National
the
Union.
collapse of the RNU, after Barkashov left, we were searching for ourselves. We were looking for
Did you have some kind of department?
a group of individuals, so that speak, a group of people.
Comrades.
Comrades, yes. That's what it's called now. Many people probably don't know about such things. A group of comrades who were looking for some kind of fight. Go and cut, kill, This is pointless. Another 10-20 people will take his place, so they say, you have to kill the dragon from the head. We couldn't think of anything better than starting small.
What year was it when you went to prison?
2008.
In 2008. You understand that the Russian Federation is a dragon. This is an anti-people
course.
government that
Of
is
course.
strangling, which unleashes hordes of migrants. Do you understand
Certainly.
this? Fine. You decided to combine business with pleasure, earn easy money, and still inflict damage, some minor blow to the financial system of the Russian Federation.
Yes, we scattered mailboxes and accordingly we used the money ourselves.
Was the money of good quality?
Well, the quality was probably average, but they lasted for a long time. That's it. We were busted later. Court, 5 years.
Did the court take into account your anti-state subversive activities?
Nobody actually said anything about it. We decided because Article 282
Would be stronger.
Yes.
This, in a sense, would even be an attempt on the state system. There would be something
I
more
don't know
serious.
how they would interpret it, but that's already 2 articles, 186 and 282nd. That's why we decided to keep quiet.
How did you do your time?
Fine, I served my time as a man.
Without any problems
Without
or
any
incidents?
problems, yes, everything was fine. We had a war there a couple of times, of course with foreigners, so to speak.
Did your tattoos appear before you went to prison or during it?
They appeared when they began to be imported from Moscow.
I'm talking about tattoos, about your tattoos.
I started getting tattoos even before I went to prison.
While still in the RNU?
No.
After the collapse of
Yes,
RNU?
yes,
During the period of your commercial, so to speak, activity?
yes. And then I started and finished it already in prison.
Please tell me, if I'm not mistaken, do you have the Russian Empire flag and SS runes on the left or right?
On the left, yes.
On the left, it's the flag of the Russian Empire and the SS runes. On the right is a swastika and 4 Rus
Rus.
on your chest.
Yes.
Just Rus. What else do you have that's remarkable?
There is an eagle holding a Kalavrat.
Kalavrat. Yes, I
on
saw
my
it, I
belly.
remember.
There is Hitler.
There is Hitler on the forearm.
Yes. Yes, that's all.
Were there problems with foreigners at the camp because of these tattoos, among other things? Am I understanding this correctly?
There were, yes, there were. They were able to be put down there. The commander would have just handled it. More precisely, he did handle it. The deputy commander. There the criminals were afraid to make him move without him. Otherwise they wanted to beat me. Well, apparently he didn't allow it. And that's all, the matter seemed to have
Maybe
stalled.
he shared our views.
Maybe. No, before that he was the head of the regional mosques. I don't think so.
You never
Not
know.
those kind of views.
Latent. Hidden.
Not really.
So, the end of 2013-2014 comes. There are revolutionary events in Ukraine, a revolution of dignity. Do you remember those days, how it was covered in the press, your thoughts? Because in many ways for us, for nationalists, this was a significant event. Because we saw guys from the right sector, from the football and football-related hooligan environment, Ukrainian nationalists, which showed how tyranny in the country is changing.
Actually, yes, I remember. I wanted to go there because I understood that the media is not covering this case from a credible perspective in any way. But I was afraid to go because, well, first of all, it's on the Russian side to go to be a volunteer. I knew I would come and it will be either they'll send me back or the Slavs themselves won't understand me because I didn't know what was going on at all. More to come, REN TV.
Bandera followers, fascists.
The media generally spread this topic because it
Yes.
was profitable.
That is, the protests began to be presented as anti-Russian. Correct? For gay parades against, therefore, our Slavic
Yes,
brotherhood.
completely. Absolutely
So-
correct.
So,
Yes. The fact that all of Europe is helping, that they are turning against Russia,
against brothers.
we're all going to die, yes.
Uh-huh. Why are you, being a person with right-wing nationalist views, didn't see the truth on the Ukrainian side? Why did you fall for propaganda? Or did you sincerely
Well,
believe
I
it?
was neither for one side nor for the other.
So,
In fact, I didn't understand at
The
all
essence
what
of
was
the
happening.
conflict.
Yes, but I seem to see one side of the truth, more precisely, the
What
truth
did
from
it
the Russian
consist
side.
of?
The way Russia lays it out, but this is not true, of course, but they present it as if it were true. The fact that Bandera rose up and all, Bandera has risen,
From the dead.
yes,
Well,
and all of Ukraine,
hates Russia.
Ukraine is nationalist country, or more precisely a Nazi, a fascist, xenophobes,
Chauvinists.
well, yes, and everything else. They organize terrorist attacks, they want to poison our wells and water, and
So-
poison the food. Don't buy from Magnet stores, otherwise the food there may be poisoned.
Did you believe it?
Of course not.
Okay.
No. More to come. It's still the same to this day.
Undoubtedly. I try to
Nothing
follow
changed.
Russian news.
Nothing.
That's 100%. At what point do you decide to become a full-fledged participant in this war? It's February 24th, 2022. Thoughts, feelings.
I didn't plan to come here at all.
Okay.
I got into a stupid fight in a bar.
Okay.
It turned out to be a policeman, as I later
Okay.
found out. Yes,
Operative.
he was in civilian uniform. In clothes, yes. The next day he calls me. He says, if you don't come, it will be worse. He gave me a number of the police officer.
How hard did you fight?
He just got punched in the face and that's all, a couple of
Okay.
times.
You basically smashed his head in, right?
Well, yes, a couple of times. I didn't even smash his head in, I just knocked him on his ass.
Did you do any martial arts?
A little bit of kickboxing.
Did you perform?
No, I didn't perform.
Besides a bar fight?
No.
Understood. Okay.
Well, in the end, he said that, or you'll be stationed at the SVO border with Bryansk. We'll stay there for a year and then go home. You'll earn some money to go home with, or we'll put you in jail now.
Well, something like for grievous bodily
That's
harm,
for
right?
Policeman.
Oh, like assault in an officer
Article
on duty?
300 and something.
308 or
think so, yes.
318?
318. So, and there were immediately many witnesses, right away. I don't know where they came from. They came to see me the next day, I agreed, but what should I do? Bryansk for sure, Bryansk. His wife or girlfriend or acquaintance comes to see me, I don't know. They took me to the military office. I signed, go through a medical examination, that's all. They brought me to Kursk. I saw that it was a training camp in Kursk. I thought, well, they'll train me in Kursk and then I'll go. Then they, well, okay, maybe this is some kind of classic standard training. Then they bring me across the border of the Lugansk region of Ukraine.
No longer Bryansk.
No longer Bryansk. I'm saying, how did we get to Tyshkovka? If I needed to go to Bryansk, which is actually in the opposite direction, we went through Belgorod instead. He says, shut up, it's not your business. Otherwise, you'll go on assault and die right in the first battle. That's
That is,
it.
you did not sign the contract voluntarily, you were not eager to participate in this war, circumstances developed in such a way that, roughly speaking, you ended up here. And I understand in this
No,
correctly.
well, I signed the contract, yes.
It's clear.
We had verbal condition there. What they agreed on there. Like, Bryansk is nearby, 100 kilometers from the city. From mine, where I live, you'll go by place of residence.
It's a 2-hour drive from home.
Yes. And that's it, I was deceived like that.
Okay.
Here I am.
What do you think about this war in general? Well, let's put it this way. Yes, this is a deep question. Go ahead. What do you think about this war? I want to
This
hear
is
your opinion.
fratricidal war.
Okay.
In a word, simple. Ukrainians, brother against brother, that's all. Well, what else can I
And
add?
who was the first brother to turn against his brother?
Well, Russia, of course.
That is, you are not trying to create any illusions now. You wanted to attack us, we attacked you. We just had a conversation with another prisoner recently, and my head was exploding. Because he was very stubborn about it that Ukraine was planning to attack Russia with the help of NATO weapons. And Russia struck first. Because there's...
It's just logical that Russia attacked.
Undoubtedly.
Now the Russians are on the territory of Ukraine.
Undoubtedly. That is, you have no illusions
talk
here,
about?
you're not brainwashed by some kind of propaganda.
Of course not. Why invent something? Or continue to speculate, right? If I had received
Well,
something good.
Yes. You know, someone is trying to present this an argument for justifying Russian aggression, that all these multi-kilometer armored tank columns, they came to liberate Ukraine from something there.
Well, these are the consequences of propaganda.
Do you remember the goals that Putin initially stated? Two rare words. I'll help with one. Demilitarization.
Denazification.
Denazification, yes. What do you say? Can you attack a neighbor?
I'll say it this way. In Ukraine, on Ukraine, which is correct, in Ukraine.
In Ukraine.
There are no more nationalists in Ukraine than in Russia. Therefore, denazification is not needed here.
I actually want to ask you, what do you think, is nationalism a bad thing?
Nationalism is love for one's homeland, for
Undoubtedly.
one's nation. That's all. These are like two
Undoubtedly.
aspects. Nothing more can be added or removed.
Who do you consider yourself to
Nationalist.
be? I also consider myself a nationalist. The finest thing, the Russian
Yeah.
nationalist. I have not hidden this in all my interviews. I travel halfway around the world with the tricolor when I also competed. And sometimes I even acted like a hooligan. I don't hide it. And so it will be. I'm convinced that modern Russia, Putin's, is absolutely anti-people and, first of all, the anti-Russian regime. I don't think I need to tell you about the number of migrants that permeate all spheres of our lives. I don't know how many of them there are in the Kaluga region, but in Moscow, where I come from, there were a huge number of them back in 2018 when I was there last time. How is it in your region?
Thanks God our region is probably the leader in the fight against them in Russia. Our governor, Shapsha, has banned them from working in the kitchens,
Catering.
in public catering establishments, and working as minibus drivers. And in general, they have more and more requirements for knowing the Russian language. They almost have to take the Unified State exam there. In short, they have made everything more complicated in our region, which is very
Have you heard
pleasant.
about the recent events at Crocus City Hall? About the terrorist
In
attack?
general, yes. In general, yes, several Tajiks came in
Yes,
there and
yes.
shot more
Well-
than 100 Russian people.
There are 144 now, I think, because the data is constantly updated because people are found under the rubble. Besides the fact that they shoot, they also set on fire, and most people actually died just from the fire and rubble. The government of the Russian Federation really wanted to see a Ukrainian trace in this terrorist act. Initially, Russian media wrote that these were Slavs with the false beards, but the Islamic State eventually claimed responsibility for the attack. So, what do you think? Russian propaganda will always try to denigrate and somehow exploit even tragedy to turn people against
I'm
Ukraine.
curious about one thing. I was in Crocus. There's a police station there. Besides, plus,
Yes, they didn't show themselves in any way.
there was a big concert of
Yes,
a popular
A
band.
popular band.
There should have been police and security where they were sitting.
For some strange reason, they entered the building 10 minutes after the car with the terrorists drove away. For some very strange reason. police special forces, all special services went there 10 minutes after the terrorists left. That's why it's very strange. The terrorist car, the white Renault, was allowed to drive 300 kilometers across Russia and was intercepted not far from the Belarus border, Russian-Belarusian.
Plus, the people were unprepared. I saw them storming. They fired at people with the rifle tucked under their arms.
Yes.
It'd say that people had no combat training.
I think so too. Plus, the sparks were flying from the rifles. It's also not clear what this is.
How could they let them pass? They somehow came to Crocus.
Undoubtedly. On the same white Renault, I think.
With weapons. It's a mystery to me.
See, somehow we ended up with an powerful federal security service that breaks down doors on one side just over likes and reposts on social media. And on the other side, just Tajiks who, with 4 rifles, managed to kill over 100 people. And the security services completely missed it. I just think that the citizens of the Russian Federation traded all their freedoms for security. But they didn't get security, remaining practically slaves in their own country. Let's move on to the questions that users of my channel ask me. How do you feel about Maxim Tesak? Do you remember or
Of
know
course
such
I
a figure?
remember, I know. I grew up on it, you could say, on his work.
He's my very good friend.
Uh-huh. I also remember Occupy Pedophilia was projected 1488, or what...
He had Adolf Hitler's torch.
Yes, so... Yes. This man is a prisoner of conscience, and one of the victims probably suffered more than anyone else. Or along with the majority.
Do you agree with the statement that the system killed him? Or it created the conditions?
Don't deny the fact. Yes, yes. Probably most likely yes.
Maybe no one slit his throat, but the conditions he lived in over his last year were so inhuman that life had already become impossible.
Yes. He disappeared from sight quite specifically. I heard that they beat him there. They put him somewhere in the cell in some kind
When
of
they
press.
were finally able to examine his body, his toenails were gone. There were marks from injections, cuts, and burns from the blowtorch. And his head was sewn to his collarbones, meaning there was no neck. Apparently, he experienced terrible torment before his death. I am just deeply convinced that Putin's regime, as I have already said, is anti-people, and nationalism, Russian nationalism, is enemy number 1 for Vladimir Putin. And so, of course, when everyone saw your tattoos, people were baffled. How could a person who probably considers himself a Russian nationalist, and as we understood, you do consider yourself a Russian nationalist, go fight for this regime?
No, I didn't actually go for the regime. I went for myself to avoid going to jail. I didn't come here to kill Ukrainians. They promised one thing. Now I'm more angry at them because I was deceived again. The system has already deceived me.
In general, as part of the Russian Volunteer Corps, we decided to undertake such an experiment. I began engaging with the guys who, while in captivity, voluntarily wanted to join our ranks. And I noticed that as soon as you get a person out of that bubble of Putin's lies and propaganda, they very quickly realize that they've been deceived, that no one here is killing or mutilating anyone. People speak Russian and no one is persecuted for it. And many guys express a voluntary desire to clear their own conscience and join the RVC. Tell me please, have you heard anything about the Russian Volunteer Corps? Haven't you heard?
No, I haven't heard of it. I haven't heard of it in civilian life. I knew the guys were fighting. I watched an interview with a young FSB officer in Kiev. The man simply left. He abandoned everyone. He left his father. Everyone hates him. He graduated from the FSB school.
This is Ilya Bogdanov, our fighter. Please, welcome him.
And there are probably a lot of such guys. I knew that Russian people were fighting for the Ukrainians, but I hadn't heard of RVC or any other abbreviation specifically.
What do you think about this state of affairs? Naturally, Russian propaganda is actively shouting, calling us traitors, Vlasovets. What do you think? Who are we?
Well, how can I say it? I don't think that Vlasovets were traitors
I
at all.
don't think so either.
White generals are traitors. This is the cream of the crop, really, of white society, Russian people. They declared war on him and gave a piece of bread to the illiterate peasants, and those peasants just
Doesn't this
pounced on them
remind
like
you of
dogs.
anything?
It reminds me of everything. The same thing is happening now.
At school we talk about history. I have a question. Who did your ancestor fight for during World War II? Do you have any repressed people?
Yes, I have a grandmother prisoner. She was still a child. Becoming a prisoner. Otherwise, no. I didn't see my grandfather. I don't know who it is. They kept silent about him. No one said anything. What happened there? And my grandmother, yes, she ended up in Estonia. She was adopted by an Estonian family. Then she moved back to the Kaluga Oblast after the war. That's it.
Fine. How did your comrades treat you? Have they seen your tattoos and paid attention? Did they say something, discuss something? Did they...
In fact, I have been to beaches in Russia, to different ones. Nobody cares. Everyone saw it. Maybe someone muttered something under their breath, but it doesn't matter. Nobody really cares. Also on the territory of Ukraine. Yes, Nazi, okay. Skinhead, oh well. We even had gypsies in our platoon. Nobody paid any attention to it. In Russia, this is probably accepted.
Just what the point? People who have Nazi and neo-Nazi tattoos themselves declare the goal of their crusade denazification of a neighboring country.
Look at Wagner. Have you seen the Wagner naked?
Many of them have all sorts of
Wagner
things.
himself.
Utkin. Yes, absolutely.
He's a Nazi.
That's why it was called the Wagner unit, because he really liked the music of Richard Wagner, because of his nationalistic views. I am simply deeply convinced that the Russian Federation has become an incredibly hypocritical country with double and triple standards.
They also awarded neo-Nazis with all the medals they can and punish others if it is beneficial for them.
If you're for us,
Yes.
then you're a good neo-Nazi.
Yes.
If you're against us, then you're a bad neo-Nazi.
Yes.
You see, I am very glad that we just discussed this formula with you. This is important. What do you think about the so-called slow Islamization of the Russian Federation? We now know that occupied Mariupol is filling up with people from Central Asia. The first building that had to be opened there was a mosque. And at the entrance to the bombed-out Azovstal plant, do you know what is written? Let's fantasize. It was given to the Chechens.
Ahmad Power.
Undoubtedly. What do you think about it?
What else? It's clear. I know this is pure nonsense. I am simply horrified that they gave so much oxygen to the Akhmatovits. I don't know what I have to say about this. Wait, there will be more guys. They will come to your home soon. And they will at least ask you to leave.
Can this be called...
To Billy Mosky there.
Can this be called the Russian world?
This could probably call the Russian world. A world of grey matter. And that's all.
Seems like it. How do you see your future path? How much are they waiting for you at home? How badly do you want to go home?
All I have left is my mother and daughter. Small. That's it. I have nothing and no one anymore. No one is waiting for me except them. I have no job, no friends left.
Why?
2 people die here.
What did they die for?
Mobilized.
Mobilized.
Yes.
For the Russian world?
Well, I don't know if it was for the Russian world. It turns out that it is for Russia.
For the Russian world.
Yes.
It turns out that Russian people are dying.
And they didn't want to take away one of my best friends. They didn't want to take him for 6 months. I begged for it. I could say I begged for it from his comrades. He dragged him himself and picked him up at night.
Do you mean the
He
body?
took him. The body, of course. He took the body of a dead man. They buried him as usual in a closed coffin.
It's clear.
He lay there all summer too. Nobody wants to take him. Go die. But they told us that if you come to the evacuation with a small wound, we will kill you.
Why?
Because you have to fight.
Uh-huh.
Don't even think about going, unless you have a serious wound that will make it impossible to fight. While you hold the rifle, fight.
Fight.
Yes. The battalion commander told us this directly.
Do you think this attitude towards soldiers is justified and correct? Especially thinking about what you are fighting for and against whom.
We didn't have a single officer in our company. How can you call them soldiers? These are not soldiers. These are people who came from the yard. For some greedy reasons. For them, money, power, and some life. All of this becomes part of life's priorities. Money, power. They felt the power. They made him a battalion commander or a company commander. He was never such a serious person. Plus he has a good salary. Plus he has respect because he belongs to the top.
How do you generally feel about Ukrainians as soldiers, as fighters?
Fighters. Real fighters. They are better prepared than us. They also related to each other. More brotherly. We send them soldiers thoughtlessly, minus meat. They just send us to our deaths. Stormtroopers. How much we will have left? The percentage of those who come back is actually small.
Tell me a question that I can't find the answer for myself. Where does this Russian fatalism come from? They don't rebel even when they hold weapons in their hands. Why the will so suppressed?
Well, Russians. Overall, it's quite a mixed crowd, of course.
Let's speak for the Russians.
Russians directly. There is no unification of Russians, no. Because we have Yakuts, Gypsies, and all nationalities. And the Russians, as they say, here Russians are not brothers to Russians.
Why?
Because there is no national idea. It was erased either by money or propaganda.
Or by the Russian world, as you and I understand.
Yes, we needed to rebuild the state somehow and educate the nation. To raise children. Because that's all. This is a
Are
collapse.
the Ukrainians our enemies?
No.